Well, now Game Week 28 is all said and done. I scored 53 points and I had a slight red arrow down to 25k overall. And here is my team selection for Game Week 29. So a quick look through my team and then how it got on in Game Week 28. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time going through this because I already spoke about this on my transfer plans video. And the only difference between my team at that point and now is Isaac's played and scored 2 points. So across my defence, I've got some points on my bench, as you can see there. I fully expected Man City to score in their game against Nottingham Forest. I didn't necessarily expect them to win, but I thought just with the firepower they have up front that they probably could have scored. Didn't come to fruition though. And I used a transfer so I didn't have to start Aina. That's quite probably a convoluted way of saying I did Hall to Gabriel and benched Aina. But I was so concerned about starting double Forest defence, I thought it'd be worth taking out Lewis Hall a bit earlier than I needed to. And yeah, obviously that didn't work. I started Gabriel, who obviously conceded to that Bruno Fernandes free kick against Man United. And Aina's on my bench with 6 points. I've got Trent and Robinson alongside them. Robinson with 0 points, conceded obviously, and got a yellow card. Trent with a 2-pointer. And obviously, well, hopefully you're aware of this. He got injured against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. It didn't look good. He did his ankle, and I don't know. We haven't got any concrete news as to how long he's going to be out for. Arnie Slot said he was going to be out for at least the Carabao Cup final. That's as far as we've heard. But I have a feeling he could be just gone for the season. So yeah, we'll see what that means. But I do think I'll probably be selling Trent this week because obviously he doesn't have a game in 29 and he's injured and I don't have all that money actually tied up in him. And then I got Sales in goal, clean sheet obviously against Man City, a few saves in there for an 8-pointer. Salah, I feel like I won the captaincy juggle between him and Palmer. It's not a juggle, but you know what I mean. Yeah, 30 points for Salah. Palmer with, well, another blank. He's another one that could potentially be a sell. I'll talk about that in a second. Blanks for all of my midfielders that aren't Salah. So Mbumo with a blank, Semenyo with a blank and a yellow card. Rogers did nothing, but kept a clean sheet against Brentford, so he got 1 point for that. Isak with a blank against West Ham and Wood with a blank against Man City. So my whole team, points came from 2 players. So I had points, actual points from Sales and Salah, and that was literally all my team did this week. And, you know, I can't imagine I'm completely alone in the fact that my team didn't do very well this week. I know I had a red arrow, but I can't imagine there were a whole lot of points going around. Let me know in the comments how many points you scored. All right, so next up, I just wanted to take another look at the fixtures. I think I've showed this Ben Crellin fixture grid on pretty much every video I've made for the last 3 or 4 weeks, but it's really important to know what your chip strategy is in combination with the upcoming fixtures in order to define your chip strategy. So for me, my chip strategy, I'm not going to do anything in 29. I'm going to dead end my team. So I'm going to use transfers to make sure I can field an 11. Game week 31, I'll likely play my wild card because at that time we should know what the fixtures or the double game weeks look like in game week 33. So in terms of making transfers in game week 29, I need to do so thinking about both game week 30, both game week 29 and game week 30. So a two game week view. Then obviously I'm wildcarding in 31, so it's not the end of the world. You know, I only have to think two game weeks time basically. But what I also do have to do is think about how much value I've accumulated in some of my players. So there are a couple of players in my team at the moment, namely Salah and Isak, who I've just accumulated too much value in over time that I can't get rid of them. You know, I'll end up losing. If I sold both Salah and Isak from my team, I think I'd lose about 2 million in team value. And I know the best team in FPL right now probably doesn't involve using the whole budget, but the thought of literally just losing 2 million of budget just doesn't feel right. So for me, I'll probably be keeping those two, just to name a couple of players that I've really accrued some value in. So yeah, like I said, dead end into 29. I'll use some transfers to get my team to a stage where I can handle this coming game week. And obviously game week 30, because those 2 game weeks are before my wild card. Game week 31, I'll hit the wild card. Game week 32, I'm not going to use a chip. I'll probably bench boost in game week 33, but we'll see. You know, we'll see just how many double game week fixtures come in game week 33. If it's plenty, what I'll do is I'll select 15 players on my wild card that should all play, and then hit the bench boost in 33 and should hopefully absolutely kill it that week. And then I'll probably free hit in game week 34 because all of the teams that double in 33 will blank in 34, which will basically be my whole team at that point because I'll be bench boosting. So I'll be bench boosting and picking 15 players that double. So yeah, with all that in mind, that's kind of where I'm going with my chip strategy. And that should help justify the transfers I'm looking to make. So then, in terms of defenders, like I said, I need to sell Trent. So I'm looking at a defender who probably comes in a little bit cheaper because I've got other players that I want to buy on my team. You might be able to guess who that could be. So I need to find someone who's a bit cheaper, but also for the next couple of weeks has some really good clean sheet odds. And I look across the board, there are 4 teams that stand out in terms of clean sheet odds according to 11FI. You've got Arsenal, Man City, Bournemouth and Forest, right? But only really 2 of those teams have cheap defenders playing for them, namely Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. And if you saw my team, I've already got Sells, Aina and Wood. So I'm already tripled up on Forest against Ipswich. So I'm kind of left to go for Bournemouth defenders. You know, for the next 2 game weeks, at least from the pool of cheap defenders you can pick from, I think Bournemouth are probably the best. So right now, I'm looking at transferring Trent out for Howson. And I'm actually going to have to play 5 at the back because, well, you can see I've got to bench essentially Salah, Isak and Rodgers to do the other transfers that I want to make. So yeah, I'm 5 at the back. Gabriel, Robinson, Aina, Greaves and Howson. Now, I am a little bit concerned about potential price changes. Usually, I don't like making early transfers in FPL. At the time of making this video, I haven't done a Howson in early yet. I have literally the exact funds to do the moves that I want to make. I also have noticed that Zabarnyi comes in at 0.1 million less than Howson. So if Howson's price does rise, Trent's price drops because of his injury, etc., etc. I've got 0.1 to play with there. I could go for Zabarnyi over Howson. Or also, I think his name's Agbadou, the new Wolves defender. He's in at 4 million, I think he is. Starting regularly for Wolves. And they have Southampton in game week 29. So they also have a decent fixture. So if push came to shove, and I could not afford Howson anymore, I could go for, I'm pretty sure his name's Agbadou, the cheap Wolves defender. But right now, with the budget I have, the transfers I have available, currently got 3 free transfers. I'm going to use one of them to take Trent out, and then I'm going to start 5 at the back. I've not done 5 at the back so far this season, and I can't say I'm all that confident in the defenders that I've actually got in my team. But other than free hitting, other than managers that are free hitting, I think quite a lot of people are going to kind of be limping through game week 29. Onto the midfield then, and the main talking point, at least in my team, is what to do with Cole Palmer. So in his last 5 games, he's put up 1 attacking return, which was an assist. But in that time, he's accumulated nearly 3 expected goals and well over 1 expected assist. And usually players overperform their expected assists. So I would say expected data-wise, there's almost 5 attacking returns there in his last 5 games. It's just that he's been really off form in terms of his finishing and like final end product. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get rid of him. I would say, so I'm going to spoil the rest of the video here. But I'm going to present you 2 drafts in this video. One of them is if I sell Cole Palmer, and the other one is if I keep him. And I'm probably 75% sure that I'm going to sell him. Because selling him allows me to bring in, I'm going to spoil it, I guess, Erling Haaland, right? If I sell Cole Palmer, I can get Erling Haaland. And I think, at least for Game Week 29 in isolation, Erling Haaland is the best captain. And for me, I'd like to think 25k overall is a decent rank. The thing I've prided myself on this season, or the kind of philosophy I've used this season, is to make sure every week I've had the best captain in my team. So on weeks where Salah had a poor fixture, for example, earlier on in the season, I always had Haaland to cover. So I always, up until like game week 20, I think, I had Erling Haaland in my team. So I've always had the best captain, and I think Haaland is the best captain. And when you look at Palmer's fixture for game week 29, Arsenal away, is that, is that return or level of returns going to continue against what is probably the best defence in the league at the moment? I think it's between 3 teams, Liverpool, Arsenal and Forest, as to who gets that kind of number 1 spot. So yeah, I'm of the mind to potentially get rid of him. And if I do, this is what my midfield will look like. So I'm selling Trent and Palmer now. I'm going to go 5 at the back like we said. So I've got 3 in midfield. And my 3 in midfield will be Kluivert, Semenyo and Mbeumo. Kluivert's gone up to, the value is wrong there. He's actually 6.2 million. And I have 0 million in the bank once these moves go ahead. I'm concerned. I think I can just about afford this with Palmer at the moment. He's just dropped in price, I believe. I can still afford this based on that. But anymore, I'm genuinely have nothing left in the bank. So yeah, I'm still a little bit concerned as to what I do with Howson. But right now I can afford to do Palmer to Kluivert, who I think with Brentford and Ipswich, going back to those Bournemouth fixtures, I know the clean sheet odds rather than attacking upside, but I think against Brentford and Ipswich at home, Bournemouth, if you were to compare Kluivert with the other cheap midfielders in the game, I still think he's probably the best with those two fixtures to go. So yeah, he's going to come in for Palmer alongside Semenyo and Mbeumo. And that's likely to be my starting midfield. I don't think, my other transfer of bringing in Howson, that could potentially go differently. But I think Kluivert's pretty much locked in at this point. I don't think there's another player that comes close to, his level of returns this season at that price point, or my prediction of how many points he's going to score at that price point either. So we said it, didn't we? I'm sure his ownership and his price might even go up by the time this video goes public. But I think I'm going to go for Erling Haaland. And I said making transfers for Game Week 29 involves a 2-game week view. And Haaland's next 2 game weeks, he's got Brighton at home in Game Week 29, where he is probably the best captain. Now, I'm not sure he's the best captain for Game Week 30 against Leicester, but it's certainly a great fixture for him. And then come Game Week 31, if he plays poorly or anything happens, I can get rid of him on my wild card. But I probably won't, considering that Man City are literally the most likely team to have a double game week in 33. So I'll probably keep him for that time. And I think his price is just going to continue to go up and up as we work towards game week 30, 33. It's hard to remember which game weeks are doubles and all that. So I think I am going to bring in Haaland. And I do think, apart from the Forest game that we've just seen, he has played pretty well in recent game weeks. He's got 5 attacking returns in the last 5 weeks. So yeah, I think the numbers justify it. And also, I really like the idea of having the best captain in my team every week. And yeah, I think Haaland's the best captain. I've got Cunha on my bench. I didn't mention that in my points video, did I? Oh, sorry, my points segment. I had Cunha on my bench. He's obviously suspended for, 4 games until the beginning of April. Although that's not actually that many Premier League games to go. I still think he's a sell, right? I can't just keep Cunha in my team. So I'm going to sell Cunha for Haaland, Palmer for Kluivert, and Trent for Howson. And we'll see. I'm not going to make these moves early because I think Sabani being cheaper than Howson and Agbadou, the other Wolves defender, or the cheap Wolves defender, being alternatives, I think I can wait to lock in these transfers. So I think if all goes well with price rises, this is how my team's going to look. And then finally, just in terms of the ends, sort of the end screen, I guess, this team is predicted to get 57.8 points according to Fantasy Football Hub with a 91% AI rating. Obviously, that AI rating is probably the poorest I've had of any team all season, but we've got a blank game week and I'm benching 3 of my usual starting players in Salah, Isak and Rodgers. I'm a little bit low to keep Rodgers, to be honest, but I think I just have bigger fish to fry in my team. And the thought of bringing in the best captain for Palmer is probably the right thing to do, I think. So yeah, I'll have nothing in the bank, no free transfers left, and I'm going Greaves deep on my bench. 5-3-2. Haaland captain, and that's kind of the scores on the doors, if you like. So that's likely what my team is going to look like, but I do have one potential alternative way of doing things, and it only involves using 2 transfers. I just have to use 2. It involves bringing in Kluivert for Rodgers and Evan Nilsson for Cunha, and then I have a 4-4-2 team, and I'm captaining Chris Wood. I think the best 2 captains going into Game Week 29 are Haaland and Chris Wood. And obviously, this team also involves keeping Cole Palmer as well. I have to keep Cole Palmer. But it only involves using 2 transfers rather than 3. Yeah, these are the teams that I'm kind of in between at the moment. Like I said, I'm 75% likely to go for the other one we've seen. That's why I spent the most time talking about it. But this is the alternative. And basically, I just wanted a call for help, really. Let me know in the comments which of the 2 teams you've just seen is actually the one I should go for Game Week 29. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like rating on the video. Like I said, let me know in the comments how many points you got in Game Week 28, first of all, and then what team you think I should go into Game Week 29 with. All will be revealed on the deadline stream, because obviously that's where I make my final transfer decisions, which will be coming Saturday early morning. And yeah, that just leaves me to say, if you like the video and want to see more from me, you can subscribe to, that was a strong point, wasn't it? You can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just here on your screen. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.